Hello everyone, and welcome back to the second part of our series in our virtual learning and engagement outreach efforts with you, our wonderful clients and friends of the industry. And in this, again, negotiations and collections are our main topic for this two-part series. My name again is Greg Ruffino, Director of Training, and negotiations is something I've been doing a whole lot of in the last 10 years, specifically working closely with our staff and of course with you, our clients, in bringing lots of payments and resolutions to the students out there that we're helping. So just to kind of recap, in the first part we did last week, the topic was how are you negotiating today? And we wanted to make sure that you actually were negotiating, not just how you were doing that. And part of what we did in that webinar, just as a quick recap, was we talked about a couple simple attributes that could be really good for you to have or to work on or to hone in on that will make you ultimately a wonderful negotiator and business person, both in business and in life. We went over making sure that you have some tools of the trade, things to keep you ready to respond quickly and setting yourself up for success. We're definitely going to do a deeper dive into that and how that will help you in your negotiations. So we'll get into that in a few minutes. And then we also went into a little bit of some of the words and phrases that work, how to actually speak and dialogue with the consumer or your student to bring them on board, to build the rapport, and to get you closer to resolution and to get them to being a partner with you as you work to finding a solution. But today, we're really going to be working on looking at, are you asking the right questions? So how are you negotiating, and are you asking the right questions? So oftentimes it'll be very simple for the student to just say, I simply can't pay today, or I have some sort of a dispute, or there's something not right, or as you know, a stall, a delay, an objection, kicking the can, or just someone not really willing to look for ways to find the resolution. They just look in their pockets. The pockets today are empty. The checking account today is of low funds, or they're not willing to reach out to somewhere. They don't know where to go. They're genuinely confused. They're stressed out, and they don't know what to do in their potentially young lives and in their lack of experience in maybe the real adult financial world. So what can we do as far as asking them questions and bringing them on board and bringing some clarity to that? So let's dive into all those things here and get that cranked up. And one of the things I also want to kind of touch base on here, just to get my notes straight, is making sure that we get the goalposts right here. When we talk about negotiations and collections, it's a much different concept than you buying a car or you buying a house. The business side of it's much different, right? This is someone who is at a potential past due or approaching past due or defaulted state of an outstanding item. So I don't want us to think that payment in full is the only notable outcome or a settlement in full. I really want us to look at this in the world of collections as anything that moves the balance forward, anything that gets the consumer or your student into some form of a commitment. Of course, we don't want $5, $10, $20, maybe $50 payments that go on for many months. But if that's what we need to do today to get the ball rolling, I think that's still winning in negotiations, because we came from a place of this person probably had a very voluntary opportunity to handle it, and because of life, they just haven't decided to do that yet or weren't able to do that yet. So we're now in a position asking them to get that ball rolling. So let's define our negotiations as winning by getting anything moving forward, any kind of forward progress, any kind of payment today, payment arrangement, even if it's not ideal today, that is us winning the negotiation battle, that is moving us forward. Some form of resolution or payment, not just the large, big, fun payments in fulls and settlements in fulls. All right, so as we get into that, I'm going to put up some visuals here now, and we're going to start to share some things that help you see what I'm talking about. And some of these things are the tools that we are actually using today and have been for a few years in our world very successfully here at Williams & Fudge and our talented collection staff. So the first thing I'm going to put up on the screen here, I made this several years ago, and it is a flow chart, if you will. It is some sort of a guideline that is helping you or helping us understand, who are you talking to? Who is this person? And if you want to be successful in negotiations, you have to know who's on the other side of the table to find what is their motivators, to see what gets them up in the morning, to see what is a reality in their world. So I don't want to talk to someone that is on the younger side of life as like a college student and talk to them like they're a full-grown adult who has a 401k to borrow from if that's just a really silly thing to do. So what this is breaking down is 3 extremely simple and kind of universal demographics that you probably already have some of this information in front of you on the student's file. But if I know these 3 things on the student, it's going to help me understand where this person is at in life, what options might make sense to them, what ideas I can give them. Because again, as a successful negotiator, it's going to be very difficult if the other person on the other side of the table just says, I can't pay, and then I have no idea what to tell them. I have no ideas. I don't know any kind of solutions or answers to the problem. I just say, oh, darn it, that's just another student who can't pay, and I'll write up my notes and I'll turn the page and better luck on the next one. No. What we want to do is, and we reference setting yourself up for success and having some tools and resources, is we never want to run out of answers to questions. We never want to run out of options. At the end of the day, I want to be able to say to that student, hey, I just gave you 5, 6, 7 viable potential options for you to go and consider and to help you find money, and you've told me no to all 5, 6, or 7. At that point in time, there's nothing much more that we could probably do. You've done your job very successfully. At that point in time, maybe turn the page and move on to the next student. But let's not get to that page very quickly. I want to keep providing you options and resources that are viable to you, that make sense. So I will start by understanding the age bracket that this person is I'm talking to. I don't need your exact date. I don't need your date of birth. I just want to know what kind of a window of age you're in. That's going to kind of help me know what your life experience is and what financial products might be real for you. I want to know where you're working. And when we get into how we ask questions and whatnot, let's ask these as an open-ended kind of a question. Get them talking. If I just say, hey, are you employed? It's very easy to just say no as a deflection, as into, hey, they're asking me about money questions right now. Just give them the answer that's going to get me out of this as quick as possible. So I ask open-ended questions. So tell me, where are you working nowadays? Okay? Open-ended questions. You want them to answer that question for you. So are they working? Do you know if they have an actual source of income or revenue at this moment? And if not, if the answer is no, well, then we're going to get into those questions. Well, who's helping you out right now? How are you making ends meet right now? And then the third demographic is just a marital status, okay? And the only reason that would even come into play, because very potentially that could bring a partner, a spouse in that's going to double the income or double revenue opportunities or double the opportunities for reaching out to family and things like that to get involved. So general age bracket, as you see on the sheet here, is breaking it down into 3 categories. This is not anything super scientific. It's yes or no, where are you working, are you employed, and is this person married where there's a potential spouse that can help. And from there in the spreadsheet or the guideline here, you can see based on some of those answers, I'm going to be able to look at them and say, hey, it sounds to me like the 529 plan could be an option for you. Did you know that you can look into your 401k because you're 36 years old and you've been working for 10 years and you're now looking for your master's? Maybe you have that kind of money. So based on those answers to these questions or my knowledge, I'm going to be able to give them options that make sense, and it's going to increase their probability of going out and achieving that payment. So maybe someone is offering you $50 a month, and that's a very low amount for their actual balance. So perhaps today, instead of shutting the door on them saying that this is a bad option, I can say, hey, you know what? Today, we'll work with you on that $50 a month. But based on some of the information you gave me, let's get you working on some of these alternate ways that you can achieve increasing that payment a month or increasing your chances of getting this paid in full and off your plate. So as we roll through here, you see some of the options involved. 529 college savings plan, which we're about to get into, reaching out to family, how do I get credit cards, am I a sophisticated consumer, am I more professional in life, do I have a 401k, do I have home equity, do I have an IRA, different kind of higher education loans that are out there. So let's get into some of those things now that we understand who our student is, so we can maybe accept a smaller option today, but we're working together on achieving a quicker, larger resolution, and I'm going to help that happen by giving you real options that can help you out. So let's move forward on that. And let's start with what I believe has been a huge opportunity for us in the last couple of years. We here at Williams & Fudge have seen lots of payments come through from the 529 College Savings Plan. And the reason these payments come through is because we actually ask about it. So how are you negotiating, and are you asking the right questions? The 529 College Savings Plan, I'm going to put some facts up here in just a moment, but just to see the big picture here, right? These numbers are all approximate. Google will tell you the same thing. That's where I got my information from. They might vary, very slightly by the month, but these numbers here are extremely appropriate for us to be discussing today, where there's over $350 billion sitting in 529 accounts today in 2023 that is waiting to be used or is going to be used at some point in time, which is the equivalent of approximately 14 million U.S. higher education students. The average balance somewhere in the range of $25,000. So 14-some million students have an average of $25,000 sitting in a 529 account that is going to be used or is waiting to be used or can be used approximately 30% of your students. So the reason why this is a big deal, moving on to our next image here, is there was a recent law passed. And when I say 4 years ago is recent, yeah, it's pretty recent. I'm not here to give you the large-scale breakdown of the legalities in it. I know the simplicities of it, and I know since this law passed going from January 2020, I have told my staff, the number one question I should be asking, or you should be asking the student you're talking with right away who can't pay that balance in full with cash out of pocket or something super easy like the credit card, or mom's right there ready to pay it, and this student is confused, I'm going to simply ask them, do you have a 529 college savings plan? And if the answer is yes, then happy days. It is more than likely going to be your very best option for them to look into, and you can just say, hey, I think this is going to be your best option. Because what you don't need to do is explain the laws to them, but what I hope you and your institution is aware of is when this Secure Act passed in the end of 2019, it allowed for the student to now use their 529 money to go backwards to pay back money in arrears or to pay back towards student loans. It lets them use up to $10,000 of their 529 balance to pay towards not just the future expense of going into next semester, offsetting tuition, paying for housing and meals and books and all that good stuff, but it's allowing them up to $10,000 in their lifetime to be applied backwards towards either a student loan or an AR or tuition balance to the university. We've seen these payments go through and get processed quite successfully in the last 3 years, and the more we ask the student about it, the more successful we are with it. So why not already use the money that's been saved and invested for you under the law that now allows you to do so, versus you going to ask mom to go into more debt on a credit card, or you getting an alternate student loan, or you trying to find some other way when the money is already there, it's already been saved, and it's going to save a lot of headaches, and the money moves very, very quickly, and it comes to you directly, or it could come to you directly, the university. So that's the number one question I'd be asking the student on a large balance who can't quite pay today and doesn't quite know where to go. So if these statistics are accurate, 30-some% of students, 14 million students have this, then the odds of you asking that question and getting success is going to pretty much increase your odds of getting payments. So start with, are you a holder of a 529 college savings plan, and go from there. The next thing I'll bring to the table here as we move forward is one of several options. There are a handful of different alternative or private higher education student loans out there. I will briefly touch on the Sallie Mae Smart Option Loan because we here at Williams & Fudge have had a lot of success with that. I've tracked a lot of data of our successes going back to 2017 when we really started to ramp this up. So in the last 6+ years, we've seen over 200 of our partners, clients, associates of yours that have funded the Smart Option Loan from Sallie Mae with an average balance of $10,000. So Sallie Mae is an option that I might use when I get to the end of the table, because this is a credit-based loan. It's probably going to have some not-so-friendly interest rates perhaps, but I might bring Sallie Mae or a Smart Option Loan or an alternative loan to the table after the consumer has told me no, can't, won't, not sure how, to many other options that I've given them. Then I can come back to them and say, hey, since you said no to these other 3, 4, 5 ideas or potential viable solutions for you, I do have one more option I think might work for you. It is credit-based. You might need a cosigner, but we have had a ton of success helping students get a higher education qualified loan to get back into school. And once you get back into school, that loan can be deferred while you're going to finish off what you started. So lots of information out there on Sallie Mae. I'll put one more image up on them. This is their actual document. If your institution is not taking advantage of one of these loan programs or doesn't know much about it, this is their actual verbiage. This is their imagery. This is from the Sallie Mae website. It's for you, the client. It helps you understand the loan process steps. We talk to our consumers and students about this to help them understand it. But again, $10,000 plus average payment in full. We're seeing these come through every week, and we're getting a lot of resolutions from it. And again, it's a great option when your student is at the end of the line and there's literally no parent that can help them, and they just need someone to help them co-sign a loan, which, by the way, with Sallie Mae, there's a co-signer release clause as well. We know all about that. So if you have any questions, reach out to me or your sales rep. But moving along as well, as far as alternates, by the way, one more thing on that Sallie Mae is just get them to call Sallie Mae. They'll help them with the application on the phone. They'll be an advocate and a good partner for you. But speaking of that as well is considering who you're speaking with. This person may have never had a credit card, or they've not had much credit, or they just really don't know much about this kind of stuff yet. Or maybe they've had a job for a long time, and maybe they're a professional working class individual who has access to these things. But one thing I will let you know is get them in the moment. When they keep telling you, no, I can't, no, I'm not sure where to go. If this person's working, if this person has good family support, if this person might have someone that might help them with credit-based items or co-signing items, I'd say, hey, why don't you go to one of these websites? And if this person's in front of you, if they're on the phone, do it with them in the moment. Hey, go to Credit Karma right now. Go to NerdWallet right now. These are just a couple of names of many options out there where you can go to a singular website, put in a couple very basic demographics that any one of us would give up in a heartbeat to get website access. And within moments, it's going to spit out for them these aggregates of, hey, Joe consumer student, here are 15 credit cards you can qualify for today. Click this link and go through that process. Here's the initial interest rates and all that kind of stuff. So instead of your consumer or student and you telling them, hey, go apply for a credit card, and they have no idea where to start or what to do, if I'm the one that's giving them good options and good resources, then I'm going to be the one that's seen as someone who's actually helping them, and I'm not the negative person just trying to take their money and saying, well, you go solve the problem, you go figure out. No, here's the actual website. Why don't you go to it right now? I'll wait with you on the phone. I'll pull it up myself too so I see what you're looking at, and we can walk through this together. And I want to present this to them because I'm the one providing the options. I don't expect them to want me to say this to them. I bet a lot of your students are hoping you don't say anything to them. They probably hope that you just say, okay, I understand you can't pay it today. Call us next month. We'll see if we can work it out then. They don't want you to just keep presenting them with actual, real viable options, because that means they might actually have to go and do something. But that's our job, is to put seeds in their head. We can solve this. We will work with you. Go to this website. I'll wait with you. This will take us 5 minutes. See if any credit cards come up that you might pre-qualify for right now. And if that's the case, hey, you're young or you're a college student, you're learning, and you got to get over this financial blip. And of course, no one wants to take on more debt, but the situation's already there and we need to move forward. And here is a potential viable option for you to move forward. So I am asking them, do you have a credit card? If they say yes, ask them, how long have you had the credit card for? Ask them, do they pay that bill on time every month? Just because they're in debt with your institution doesn't mean they don't pay their other bills or otherwise have good credit, right? Don't make those assumptions. If someone already has a credit card, ask them, when was the last time you called your credit card company and asked them for an increase? Have you ever done that? Or if they say, I can't pay right now because I got my car payment, I got X, Y, and Z. Hey, how long have you been making that car payment? Have you ever called your car payment loan company and asked them for a couple-month extension on making your next payment? A little bit of a forbearance. They might say yes. So if this person never had a credit card in their life before, and NerdWallet, Credit Karma could be a good option, or if they do have a current credit card, see if they can't get that limit increased, okay? The next one we're going to move on to is maybe not something that's going to help you get paid today, but I'm going to be asking them, like, what kind of things are you doing to save money? What are you doing to invest money? Did you know that there's some other products out there? So on the screen now you see this product called Changed, and that's a company that Williams & Fudge partners with, actually. And what that does is your student can enroll with them, and it's a rounding up feature. It's not a new concept. Banks have been doing it for a while now, but they take your loose change, you make a purchase for $10.05. It takes 95 cents and takes it and rounds it up and puts it in a bucket for you. And the company Change specifically does this with higher education loans. So maybe your student more than likely has an institutional balance owed to you. But at the same time, they probably have some federal loans as well. And as we know, filming this here in July 2023, supposedly these Department of Education held loans are going to be coming back live due in October of this year. We'll see if that actually happens, but we have to assume that it will. So, hey, while you're working to help pay off our institutional balance, did you know that there's this app you can use called Changed, and it'll round up your money and it'll drop $50, $75, $100 payments towards your federal student loans. So that will help you just kind of maybe save some money to pay towards us. It's just presenting an idea to them that's going to put you on their side and to be an advocate with them. The whole idea or the concept here is I want to keep presenting them with ideas. And again, Changed, or you also see Acorn or Acorns on the screen. That's just me becoming an advocate with the student and presenting different ideas with them. So I'm asking them all these kind of questions, and the more financial related questions I get to them, the more they're going to start to think about their own financial situation and want to think about, how do I clean up my mess and not make it worse? Okay? What I have here on the screen, speaking of setting yourself up for success or having tools and resources for you, is all these things I just mentioned are right here on, this is an internal document that we use. Our staff has ready access to. It's full of links. So if I'm walking through that and I see that my student might be a good option for an alternate higher education loan, based on some of the questions I'm asking them on their basic demographics, I see Sallie Mae here. Elm Select is a great choice to see some options. College Avenue Student Loans is another one very similar to Sallie Mae. Citizens Bank does a similar loan to Sallie Mae, and I'm sure there's many more out there. But what I have here for our staff is, here's a link. I can click on it, and I can see the information, and I can start to talk to you about it. I'm not going to sit here and and ha and shrug my shoulders and say, I don't know what the solution is. I say, hey, good news. Seeds of Happiness from Lesson 1 last week. I think I have a few good ideas for you. And I go to my back pocket and I pull up my solutions. I'm following a guideline based on your situation, based on some of the things you've told me. Here's what I think would be a good idea for you. On here as well, if you have that international student, Empower Financing is supposed to be a good resource there. And internationalstudentloan.com. We've seen some success with that, with international students getting some private loans. Again, there's NerdWallet and Credit Karma referenced here. And the whole point is the list goes on. You can form your own list. You can speak to people in your local community. Maybe there's credit unions in your area that would be helpful with that. But the whole concept here is, I don't want to ever run out of ideas. And if I do, maybe that is that percentage of student that maybe just today might not be helped, because we know in negotiations and collections, you're not going to win them all. But I'm trying my absolute best to move the ball forward. All right, looking at our time here, let's say we wrap this up, because I know it's time for you to get going back to your busy day. So in conclusion, negotiations and collections is very, very fluid. I'd say, remember those 4 attributes. Be confident with yourself. Always seek being a conversationalist. I will always use words that work. I'm going to have perspective in our day-to-day job and operations. I know that we're not going to win every conversation, but I'm going to move the needle as much as I can, and I'm going to be patient yet persistent in my effort with every student I reach out to. I'm going to ask them about their life. I'm not going to be invasive, but I'm going to let them know that I'm here to help you, and the best way for me to help you is if I have a little bit of an understanding of what you have going on. I will get to know who that person is. I'll ask simple questions on their demographics, and based on those answers, I'm going to be able to provide them with viable, real solutions that they should be able to take advantage of at least one of them. And if we can do that just to move the needle forward or to get some form of repayment, even if small or temporary, then that means you've won in negotiations and you probably made a student happy because you went about it the right way. The last thing I want to leave you with, folks, is another reminder that we would love to see you in September, the 24th of 2023 in beautiful Myrtle Beach, South Carolina at the SLRCC conference, slrcc.com. A lot of you watching this have already been, and you're either going to come back again because you know it's awesome, or you're hoping to pull the strings to come back. And a lot of you out there are wondering, what is this all about? Or I heard all about it. And you heard correctly. It's a wonderful time to network with us, to engage with friends and associates in the industry. Awesome learning opportunity, and not to mention Myrtle Beach is a entertainment capital of the country, one of many on the East Coast here. So come and join us. We hope to see you out there. Thanks for joining us again for this two-part series. See you out there. Take care.